Welcome to the orientation video for C Learning. I'm Brendan Ozawa de Silva.
And I'm Lindy Sedevin-Demi. The purpose of this video is to provide a brief orientation for educators who would like to facilitate C Learning curricula to their classes for the upcoming school year. C Learning is a comprehensive framework and curriculum to teach awareness and compassion to children in an educational setting across the globe. C Learning is a program of the Center for Contemplative Science and Compassion-Based Ethics at Emory University, whose vision is a compassionate and ethical world for all, and whose mission is to promote human flourishing by developing educational programs facilitating dialogue and engaging in research.
C Learning draws from a variety of education programs that have taken place over the past few decades. Character education, peace education, social and emotional learning, anti-bullying programs, trauma-informed programs, and mindfulness in education programs. It doesn't seek to replace these programs, but to complement them by bringing together the best practices currently available in a comprehensive framework.
What C Learning does is seek to enrich existing social and emotional approaches in 4 areas with attention training, compassion and care, systems awareness, and ethical engagement. C Learning has been called SEL 2.0 by Dr. Daniel Goleman.
The pedagogical model for C Learning is based on an idea of 3 levels of understanding, which emerge through the foundation of a supportive teacher and environment. Within that environment, students are exposed to knowledge about themselves, their emotions, and the world. This is mainly done through activities with the purpose of leading to critical insight, which is where students gain a personal recognition or personal insight into the material as it applies to their own lives. We sometimes call these aha moments. C Learning also uses reflective practices to deepen those insights into a level of embodied understanding, where the lens of the students change in terms of how they're viewing the world and in terms of the spontaneous nature of the practices that they're learning. The idea is that this is the best way to encourage ethical engagement among students, which means acting in a way that is beneficial for themselves and others. The areas of focus in C Learning are divided into 9 components, from attention and self-awareness to community and global engagement. To understand this model and all the different components of the C Learning framework, you're encouraged to read the framework document, which is available for download at the Center for Contemplative Science and Compassion-Based Ethics website.
The role of the teacher in C Learning is very important. The first element is teacher self-cultivation, in which the teacher herself seeks to embody qualities of compassion, patience, courage, and warm-heartedness. The teacher also would understand C Learning material in depth and embrace the attitudes there that are desired for students, including growth mindset, having humility, admitting and learning from mistakes, and embracing self-examination. Also very important is the pedagogical orientation of the teacher, who would seek to use a variety of entry points that ignite natural curiosity. The teacher would make time for exploration and discovery through self-directed learning and action, and also provide reflection time for absorption of C Learning material through reflective practices such as journaling, dialogue, debate, contemplative practice. The third important element in the role of the teacher is creating a caring classroom, in which the teacher creates a compassion-focused classroom with safety and kindness at the center, and predictability as well. The teacher would co-create class norms with students to support a trusting environment and routinely gauge student emotional and social readiness for engagement and adjust class norms as necessary. C Learning uses 4 key learning threads. These are woven throughout the curriculum to help students arrive at embodied understanding of particular components. Each learning experience in the C Learning curriculum includes 5 elements. Each learning experience begins with a check-in Sometimes that is a brief discussion of how students' days are going, or maybe a settling in practice. Next comes some type of presentation or direct instruction, sometimes, in which students will receive knowledge from the teacher. This is followed by one or more activities that seek to support students in achieving a critical insight related to the component being focused on in the learning experience. These activities are followed by reflective practices, which provide time for students to absorb the critical insight they had experienced during the activities. Debriefs are also at the end of each learning experience so students can discuss what they've learned.
C-learning is divided into chapters, each of which contains a number of learning experiences or lessons. Chapter 1 is titled Creating a Compassionate Classroom and sets the foundation for the entire C-learning program. It mainly deals with exploring the concepts of kindness and compassion and how they relate to happiness through the form of class agreements.
This is an example of student work from Chapter 1. This is work created by 5 and 6-year-olds, illustrating what kindness looks like to them. Students create their own definitions of kindness and explore what it may look like in their environment.
Chapter 2 focuses on building resiliency by teaching students about their own nervous systems and the way their bodies experience stress and well-being. By learning about sensations and how to track sensations in the body, students learn about the state of their nervous systems. They also learn skills like resourcing and grounding as ways of bringing about greater regulation and calmness in their bodies.
In this slide, you'll see several examples of student-created resources that they keep in their resource kits. The young woman in the center is describing her resource, which she can call to mind to help her feel better when she needs it. This is an image of her imagining baking for her family and imagining all of the sensations that she feels when she is imagining that.
Chapter 3 focuses on strengthening attention and self-awareness by teaching about the nature of attention and then specific activities and practices for strengthening attention. At the end, this chapter then allows students to focus their attention on their own thoughts, emotions, and what arises in their minds. That's the practice of self-awareness, which cultivates the skills of metacognition and meta-awareness. Also in this chapter, students learn about the metaphor of the spark and the forest fire. This analogy talks about how emotions and thoughts start off as sparks, and if we can catch them at that stage, we can prevent them from becoming forest fires that could lead to harm to ourselves and others. Other metaphors include training our attention as one trains a little puppy to stay on a path. And the metaphor of the sky is to show that just as birds, airplanes, and clouds may arise in the sky and then depart, in a similar way we can learn to watch our thoughts, emotions, feelings, and memories arise in our mind without reactivity and judgment. Chapter 4 deals with navigating the emotions. This begins with learning experiences that deal with what emotions are related to each other, how we notice sparks of emotions, the relationship between emotions and unmet needs or fulfilled needs, how we can chart the arising of emotions across timelines, and strategies for dealing with difficult emotions.
Ella, age 14, says, "At every given moment, we are all feeling so many different emotions at the same time. Each action impacts each emotion, triggering the brain to think and feel a certain way based on who we are as a person and the situation at hand." This quote was after Ella had experienced the activity of creating an emotional timeline and the critical insight that she arrived at.
I think self-compassion is definitely one of those things that it's hard to be compassionate towards yourself than be compassionate towards other people. And I think if you need to recognize that if someone came up to you and said the things that you say to yourself, you must most likely not tolerate it. And I think I need to recognize that I should not tolerate my inner voice too.
We've learned that our nervous system is like what kind of triggers our emotions, and like how we can calm it down.
Emotions are not something that you can just turn on and off. That's one thing that I've learned. They're always going to be present. Emotions, you're going to get angry, sad, happy, depressed, whatever. But one of the things that I've learned is how can you control them to the best of your ability. So, the objective is, okay, I'm going to be sad today. I might be sad. You never know. It's a gloomy day, and I might just be kind of down in the dumps. And so what we learned is how to kind of pull yourself up out of that rut and try, whether it's, using a help now strategy or, resourcing or grounding, but in those terms.
So you have just seen the first 4 chapters of C Learning curricula that are currently available. Forthcoming in the next several months will be Chapter 5, Appreciating and Learning from One Another, Chapter 6, Compassion for Self and Others, Chapter 7, Understanding Systems and Our Common Humanity, and Chapter 8, An Engagement Project.
Over the past year, over 460 educators have attended C Learning workshops and orientations in the United States, Europe, and India. Here are just a few images from these workshops, as well as an image from a Tibetan school that is using C Learning, here shown under its previous name, Secular Ethics in Education. These educators who attended C Learning workshops and orientations were invited to provide feedback. Of those who provided feedback, 82% said they found the curriculum valuable or very valuable for their students. 78% reported that student engagement with the curriculum was engaged or very engaged. Other pieces of feedback provided were similarly positive. For those of you who will be using C Learning in your classrooms, we encourage you to use the online feedback form to let us know how C Learning works in your classrooms. In order to allow as many people to participate in C Learning as possible, we're currently developing an online educator preparation platform. This will include an introductory educator preparation course that educators can take to be oriented and trained in C Learning. All curricula and the C Learning companion volume will also be available for download from the website. There will be a community forum for discussion and support, as well as regular webinars for ongoing training and support. There will be additional preparation courses for staged levels of certification leading to facilitator certification. This online platform will be available to educators for testing in early 2019 and will go live publicly in time for the International C Learning launch in April 2019. There are many ways to get involved with C Learning. We are seeking partnering organizations around the world with local expertise to liaise between Emory University and local schools and educators. We're also seeking K-12 educators who can implement C Learning experiences and provide feedback, as well as to beta test the initial online training platform. We also seek post-secondary professionals to collaborate on research design and assessment, as well as the development of university-level curricula and teacher education. This work requires donors who can support and increase the impact of the ongoing work, as well as translators for translating curricula and other online training materials.
So what's available now? Now we can provide chapters 1 through 4 for early elementary and middle school levels. We also have a draft high school curricula available for students ages 14 and up. We also can provide support and coaching as you request. What to do next? If you're interested in teaching the C Learning curriculum to your students this year in whatever setting you're in, we suggest that you do the following things to prepare. Read the C Learning Framework document, watch the videos linked below, and then go ahead and try the curriculum with the students that you work with. Please report your feedback to us about how the lessons go in your classroom using the survey link below, and definitely let us know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching the C Learning orientation video.
for more information, check back at www.compassion.emory.edu or follow us on Facebook at Emory C Learning. Thank you.
Thank you.